As Jane Austen once wrote, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a 20-year-old embarking on a summer adventure must be in want of a hunk. At least I know I wanted a hunk when I signed up to do a 2-month cross-country bike trip from Connecticut to California the summer after my sophomore year in college. I'd seen enough romantic comedies to know that by the Appalachians I'd be edging towards a cutie while roasting marshmallows at a campfire. By Kansas, we'd share our first kiss. By the Rockies, our then toned and tanned bodies would be pumping in perfect synchronization on our bikes. And by the time we cruised across the Golden Gate Bridge, we'd have fallen in love. Orientation for the trip is the day before we're supposed to leave. As soon as I walk in, excited to meet the other riders, especially the man of my dreams, my heart plummets when I see Colin Hannon, my ex-boyfriend. I dated him earlier that year. His long, sweeping, Bieber-esque bangs wooed and hypnotized me, and for a short time blinded me to his true character. Like how he never hung out with my friends, or how he limited me to an appetizer when he took me out to dinner. Or, much worse, how he used the word gay to talk about things that he didn't like. And this was 2000. It was not done out of ignorance. To say the least, I was very disappointed to see that he was on the trip. But there's still hope, right? As I scanned the room, I saw that 26 of the 30 riders were women. Oh. 2 of the 4 guys were firmly lodged in the friend zone, leaving my homophobic and drip of an ex-boyfriend and, one guy who I can only imagine must be Mr. Right, and what a specimen he is. His name tag says Max, and I make my way over to begin our lives together. As I get closer, he turns to me. Hello? My name's Max, and let me tell you, honey, you look fabulous in green. And thus, my dreams of summer romance fly out the window. Probably irrationally, I put the blame squarely on Colin's shoulders, feeling like he took the place of my hypothetical hunk. Despite my disappointment, the trip begins the next day. The first few weeks are biking boot camp in the Appalachians. Extremely hot or rainy conditions lead us to make 8 trips to the hospital as people get heat exhaustion or crash and need stitches. At this point, I'm too tired to notice my lack of love or to think about the fact that I once dated Colin the schmuck. When we get to Kentucky, the biking begins to get easier and we all still start getting to know each other. It's at this point that the other riders realize that Colin isn't really helping with the chores and, quite frankly, isn't very friendly. Also, by now, Max has become a coveted bike mate, making the hours pass with his provocative games like Never Have I Ever and Chuck, Fuck, or Civil Union. No one is made more uncomfortable by Max's risque talk than Colin, who squirms almost every time Max opens his mouth. There's this one day when we're biking through an endless cornfield in Kansas that Max is leading a thrilling game of Would You Rather. At some point in the game, he bikes up to Colin, grinning, and says, let's just say you were dating a guy. Would you rather be top or bottom? Colin grows red in the face and sputters, I would never put anything in my butt. So, top then? By the Rockies, I am having the time of my life. Rather than getting the toned and tanned body I first envisioned, my legs turn into something resembling tree trunks, and my farmer's burn makes me look ridiculous. I don't care, though. I'm seeing beautiful scenery. I love the biking. I'm making great friends. But Colin's a constant thorn in my side. He's a reminder that my happiness is of the celibate variety. And he's a weird combination of being both a whiner, this route is taking forever, and a self-promoter, but I'm really fast at biking it. So by the time we get to Nevada, I am really annoyed that the only person on the trip who hasn't missed a day of biking due to injury or fatigue is frickin' Colin. And he's so righteous about it. Guys, you wouldn't understand, but it's a really amazing feeling to know you can get all the way across the country with just the power of your own body. Now, the Nevada desert is really hot. So one day when I'm biking alone, I'm concerned when I see a biker ahead of me weaving all around. As I get closer, I realize that it's Colin. He stops, and I pull up to see that his water bottles are empty, and he's really pale and not sweating. Did you see that elephant? He stammers. It was so beautiful. He's in bad shape, and too bad shape for me to take pleasure in it. Being the last biker on the trip, I was carrying the group cell phone, so I pulled it out and called the van, and it came and took us to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, I go into the exam room with Colin to wait for the doctor. Now that he's in a safe place and clearly going to be fine, my resentment starts to build. I hate being stuck with him here on one of the last precious nights of the trip. And the arrogant attitude that got him here, and his cockiness, and his unhelpfulness, and his general presence. If only he hadn't come on the trip. It was at this moment that the curtain swooshes open. The doctor steps into the room and approaches Colin. Sir, you are going to be okay, but you are suffering from heat exhaustion. The doctor pulls from the wall what I remember as the biggest thermometer that I have ever seen. Colin, confused, opens his mouth wide. The doctor shakes his head. I am sorry, sir, but I'm going to have to get a core measurement. Colin, me, and the thermometer lock eyes as we realize what is about to happen. As Colin grits his teeth and lets out a little squeal, I realize, sure, I didn't find true love on this trip, but I did find some karmic justice. Thank you.